Welcome into Kitchen Talk Pickleball Edition. I'm your host, Caitlin Miller, and this week joining us is Ashley Owens, the co-founder of CourtReserve, which is your all-in-one club management software for pickleball and tennis. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm so excited to talk with you today. Thank you.
Yes. Well, you have some huge news. You guys just raised $54 million as a growth investment, partnering with Mainsail Partners. I mean, this is huge, obviously, for your company, but then also just the future of technology for both pickleball and tennis.
It is. And it was one of those things after 9 years of the grind. So, Tim and I started this 9 years ago in the kitchen of our home, and we knew that we wanted to continue helping people. But with the new changes in AI, with, things in the marketplace that we just knew that we wanted to spend our time investing in, we knew it was time to find a partner to help us do that. We wanted to be able to offer our team members, better access to benefits and healthcare, but also at the same time, there is over 1,000 ideas on the CourtReserve idea board from our current 2,000 facilities. Hey, we love CourtReserve, but if it could do this, that would be great. So we knew we needed to invest in some additional people, some additional technology so that we could continue to be the best club management software for tennis and pickleball.
A quick break to tell you about something that helps me stay on the court longer and recover way faster. It's called Kineon. If you're dealing with knee or back pain like myself, tight shoulders, or just general soreness from playing a lot of pickleball, their recovery tools are a total game changer. The Move Plus Pro uses red light therapy to reduce inflammation, relieve pain, and help your body heal faster. And it's small enough to fit in your pickleball bag. Kineon also has a trigger point therapy tool that's designed to relieve muscle tension, break up those tight spots, and improve mobility with targeted pressure. To save 10% on these life-changing products, use code Caitlin or scan the QR code on the screen right in front of you. From pain to possible, get back to doing what you love both on and off the court. Now back to the show. And how do you think this investment will really just take the technology in clubs to the next level?
Yeah, so for one, we're going to strengthen what we already do with our own customers. We're going to make sure that the support that we have is on even a better level. We're going to go in and we're going to continue to adjust and make tiny tweaks to the CourtReserve platform so it's easier for admins to make changes on the fly. So it's easier for setup. So if you're a new club coming on to CourtReserve, we want to make that transition to learning a software even easier so that you can do it quickly. We're going to be able to, like I said, take and integrate new technologies into our platform. There are so many great small and new products in the marketplace that do leagues and ratings and tournaments and, paddle and demos, stringing modules. So what we want to do is spend the time now to take those fantastic products that are already built and integrate them into CourtReserve. We want people to have the ability to make the choice. Hey, I want to work with this league product or this tournament software. And so if CourtReserve is that all-in-one network, then that just makes it more powerful for the club to be able to run their business the way that they want to instead of the way that CourtReserve software wants them to do it.
Let's take a quick moment to share with you my go-to gear on the pickleball court. Centerline Athletics makes player-focused apparel built for the court. Their fabrics are SPF protected, quick cooling, and super breathable with that airlight feel. The Grip Tech technology is clutch. You can wipe away that sweat in the middle of a match and stay locked in. Every detail is designed and tested by players for maximum performance. So go grab your Centerline Athletics apparel and use code Miller for 20% off everything. All right, now let's get back to it. And for those listening that might not have used CourtReserve before, I know obviously the goal is to help with club management, to help players, coaches, leadership, just make the whole process easier. But if you could kind of sum up, some of the services you offer and how someone could try it too.
Sure. So if you are a club, whether it's private or public, if you're a homeowners association that has courts that you need to be able to manage because your players are, fighting over courts. If you are a university that has a faculty club, maybe you have a tennis team that works out in your tennis facility, but you also allow the public to come in and reserve your courts. If you are a large tennis or paddle or racket sport facility that needs to be able to help your admins manage your scheduling, instructors manage their programming, their events, their lessons. If you have memberships that maybe you give people certain permissions or restrictions in order to have court time or sign up for programming, maybe academies. We have a lot of coaches that use CourtReserve to run their academies. So they're able to come in and make payments and to have their players, pay for, several sessions at a time. All kinds of payments, all kinds of memberships. It is an all-in-one club or facility management. So we really help clubs manage their day-to-day operations so that they can do other things. We get asked all the time, who's your biggest competition? And it's funny that today, in this age, it's a lot of pen and paper because you have a lot of existing facilities that love their paper court sheets, that they believe that they can see everything very easily, but there's no data, there's no automation. It makes it really challenging for their players to be able to see what's available. And that's really why CourtReserve started in the first place, because Tim and I, we played at a local tennis club. No technology. You had to drive 20 minutes to get there, put your name on a whiteboard, then you had to wait for a court. There was no programming visible. You literally had to track down the instructor and say, hey, are you having any programs this week? Can I get a lesson with you on the court? And so it was frustrating for us as players. So we just decided to solve our own problem for our own club. And that's kind of how CourtReserve took off. And over the years, Caitlin, the clubs and facilities that have used CourtReserve, they are in the day-to-day, and they've helped us create all the features and functionality that they needed. And that's what's made CourtReserve such an incredible product. It wasn't CourtReserve coming up with this stuff. It was all of the admins and instructors and directors that said, hey, we need this in the software. And so we went and built it for them.
Well, and that's amazing to hear that. Obviously, like, you need to hear their feedback. What do they need in their clubs? And that helps you. But then also, they were probably dying for a solution, of kind of what you have, because and as like what I do too, I work with club owners all the time, and it's so stressful, one, to open a club, two, to then try to figure out what type of programming goes with their demographics, but then three, to actually logistically run everything, organize members, organize leagues, tournaments, memberships, all of that stuff. Like, I can't even imagine doing that on pen and paper, let alone, just documenting it. So I'm sure just like, the day in, day out, like, their lives have become just so much easier. And that's probably so satisfying for you too, to just hear how much you are helping these clubs.
Yeah, so over the years, I've had the great privilege to meet a lot of the people that we support every day. And two stories come to mind. One was in Mesa, Arizona. A guy, he was a coach and he did after school programming. So we rented high school courts. So he did the tennis team after school. He did adult programming and kids. And he met me and he said, Ashley, he's like, CourtReserve has revolutionized my time. He said, because I used to use an online, basically like a QuickBooks, to bill out my adults and parents for programming. It would take, excuse me, 4 hours every week. And with CourtReserve, he changed it from 4 hours to 45 seconds.
Wow.
You cannot get that time back, right? And then the second one, we have a facility in the mountains of North Carolina, and it was a seasonal facility. And if you know anything about pickleball and tennis, you know that a lot of times it's played at different times of the day. And so you have open play pickleball, and then you have tennis matches, and tennis, it's a little bit different. Yeah. And so this organization was like a homeowners seasonal organization in the mountains. And he said that the tennis players would come to the board meetings and say that, hey, the pickleballers are loud, and the pickleballers would say, hey, the tennis people, they're never playing on their courts. We need all of the pickleball. We need the tennis courts changed into pickleball courts. And he said, Ashley, what Court Reserve did was show that we had this amount of reservations actually on the tennis courts. And so instead of converting, which we hear a lot today, pickleball goes and converts those tennis courts, they actually spent the money to build additional pickleball courts. And now you keep both sides of the membership happy, your pickleballers and your tennis players. So I think it's the little stories, it's sometimes the little things that make the most impact on a day-to-day club.
Yeah, no, and that's so good to keep everyone happy because it's like a lot of us were former tennis players. Like I was myself and I love pickleball, but I do love supporting both sports. I know there is a little bit of tension, but it is so nice to see that instead of going the way to convert the courts, it's like, okay, no, we can find ways to make it work, find times that people are using this sport versus the other. And that was going to be my next question. Obviously, you guys started with tennis, but when did you see the opportunity in pickleball and kind of add that onto your system?
Yeah, so during COVID, everybody kind of heard about pickleball. We actually
Yeah.
played it in our garage in North Carolina. We set up the net and everything. And so we started getting clubs coming into Court Reserve that were pickleball clubs, and we didn't know anything about it. And we had the opportunity to go down to Port St. Lucie, Florida, to the World Pickleball Open. And it was this
Wow.
tournament of pickleball people. And Tim and I, we had played tennis for years as adults. We would do USTA tournaments in the weekends and all kinds of great stuff. There would be like 150 players, right? At this tournament, there was like 1,000 people. They were having so much fun. They were loud on the court. And so that night, we actually went back to the hotel we were staying at that had a tennis court, and we played pickleball for the first time with
Oh my
wooden
gosh.
pickleball paddles. And so we just started to learn. And actually, the Hop, which is the House of Pickleball in Leland, North Carolina, he came into Court Reserve. He was getting ready to open up and he was like, Tim, we need Court Reserve, but I need you to understand how pickleball works. And so Tim went down and actually learned all about how pickleball was, what they needed from a facility standpoint. And I gotta say, COVID exploded the Court Reserve business because all of a sudden you could not play anything on a court without, having a reservation system and showing
Totally.
who was there at the same time. And so during COVID, that year in May, we brought on like 70 clubs, and our business just took off from there. So
Wow.
that's really when pickleball started coming into the forefront of Court Reserve. And now you've got independently owned clubs opening, franchises that are opening. And then you've got a lot of clubs that now are multi sport because they see pickleball as something that is great for their tennis, their swim, whatever they have at their organization. And so a lot of pickleball has really come into play in Court Reserve now.
Amazing. And roughly how many clubs do you guys work with now nationwide?
Well, our total club count is around 2,100. We
Wow.
just hit 2,000 back last month, and so it's been an amazing journey. And I would say that tennis is still a huge number of what Court Reserve gets to serve every day, but there's more and more pickleball that we are seeing now, especially brand new outfitted facilities, up and comers. Yeah.
Now, I mean, like more than 2,100 clubs getting this $54 million investment. Did you ever think you would get to this point?
No, Tim and I are just unbelievably blessed to be able to do what we do every day. And we've even said it before, the dream is not for sale. But over this past summer, we realized that now the dream is to scale. And we want to help more and more people, have time management, be able to do the things at their facilities they want to do, come off pen and paper, use data and AI and the things that we have available today to make their lives better, to make it better for their players, to easily be able to create a network for players to find other players to play with, for admins. I mean, it's amazing. Instructors and directors have left club after club, like they'll work at a club a few years and they'll get an opportunity to go somewhere else, and they'll take Court Reserve with them. And so the referral network that we have created because of the solid program and solution that Court Reserve is, it's been an unbelievable journey. And we, you nobody ever tells you how to grow up and be an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm
Right.
sure that there's college programs now and you can get a master's in it now, but Tim and I, we grew up in small towns and single parent homes, and this has just been such a grind for us, but also what a journey to get to meet so many people. And the people that actually work alongside of us at Court Reserve are incredible people. They have just the heart and soul of helping, servant based leadership, just being able to just help people every step of the way. And that's what makes Court Reserve such a special place, is because of not only the clubs we serve, but the people we get to work with each day.
I love that. That's amazing. And how many people do you have working for you guys
I
now?
think right now we're about 55. It seems like
Amazing.
we are hiring new people every week.
Yeah,
Um, and
that's
so
so
definitely,
exciting.
yeah, part of that, growth, investment that we want to continue to bring along people for the Court Reserve ride. And, that's going to be an exciting part of our growth as well in 2026.
And obviously, you guys are growing substantially, really getting noticed too. You're in the media. I mean, things are exciting, but I feel like the part of the story you never hear is when you started in the kitchen, like literally pen and paper, ideas, working your butt off. I mean, so tell me a little bit about just those days and maybe the grit or, whatever you learned from those days, because those are the hardest days, and to actually fight through and to get to this point. I mean, it's so rewarding, but it's a fight.
Yeah. In the beginning, I mean, our kids were small and, we both had full-time jobs. And so, Tim was a developer. And so him and Nick, our CTO, they were developing Court Reserve at night and on the weekends. And it took about 18 months. And so we had dinners without him and, weekends without him. And so it was really kind of that beginning that we just didn't know where it was going to go. I mean, in the beginning, you don't know that you're going to be 9 years away and able to work alongside, 50 other people that you're responsible for their, mortgage payment and feeding their kids and all kinds of great stuff, right? And I think that my background in sales and marketing, I was in medical sales, and the ability that I can speak in front of people and, those skills, Tim doesn't have those skills, and I don't write code. So it's this beautiful marriage, and we are still married happily 18 years
Yes.
later. It's this beautiful marriage of, what we both bring to the table, and how we used our own unique strengths in order to help grow and build the business. So while he was, doing live chat support, you would come in as a client, he would get on a sales call with you, and then you would say, "Hey, Tim, can you build this?" And him and Nick would go build it really quick and put it into the software. That's how the first iterations of Court Reserve began. And slowly over time, we were able to start employing people. And one of my favorite stories, though, is our very first customer. So I knew that there was an organization, a big tennis body that was going to have a conference out in California. So I packed up what we had, went to California, got a booth at this conference. We were not known at all, but we put Court Reserve on the silent auction table, and Jason Spears out of Empire Academy in upstate New York bid $75 on Court Reserve for 6 months. He is still a paying client. He pays his normal fee now, but he helped us develop in the early days because we would sit down with him and say, "Okay, you're a tennis coach. You run a tennis academy. What do you need Court Reserve to do?" And he would get on the phone with Tim and help build that out. And so it was really all those tiny relationships that we built along the way that really, a lot of those folks are still with us today, 9 years later, eight
It's
years later.
amazing.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey.
And it's just so nice that you have, you could build something and not really impact people. But the fact that you have these relationships with club owners, with coaches, and things like that, and you can really see firsthand the impact that you're having and just the growth that you're scaling. I mean, that must just be probably one of the most rewarding parts of what you do.
It is. I just went to the RSPA conference in Kona, Hawaii, and I bet I took 40 selfies with our customers that we've been, it's
Oh,
like seeing an old friend, again. And it is such a rewarding thing to know that we were able to help them in the early days, and we're even more now today being able to help them with the things to help run their day to day. And I just love meeting their teams and being able to like tweak a button or figure something out that's small for them, and it just like lights them up like a light bulb. Those are also, we do these admin conferences one day, we call them catalysts, and so we
Okay.
did them across the country this past year, where our admins could come spend a day with us, and we would just fill their minds full of Court Reserve and all the new things in Court Reserve. And I love being able to watch my team share things with the audience, and it's, you can see the light bulbs, the little emojis going off in their head, because life is so busy. And if we can help this admin, this director, this instructor, get 5 or 10 or an hour back to his day, and he can spend more time on the court or spend more time with his family. I mean, what else? There's not a better business you can be in. I mean, we are actually in the
Totally.
people business. Software is just what we get to do. So,
I love that. And two, I have to give you credit. I mean, sports, technology, industry, historically it's always been male dominant. And obviously you're really, making waves in that industry as a female. So tell me a little bit about just what that process has been like for you too.
well, I mean, I'm not a software developer, right? But I have learned Court Reserve and technology the old school way, starting from the bottom, me being in support, supporting customers, learning everything inside and out with Court Reserve. Now, I can probably tell you today that I knew a lot more about the basic product than I do a lot about the new stuff today. But it's been exciting because, I mean, I was a police officer. And so there's not a lot of female police officers out there. And so
Yeah.
it's just showing people that you can show up every day, you're willing to learn, and you're willing to do the hard work. And it's really been such a great ride. Tim and I, he's really taught me a lot about the technology part, and I've taught him a lot about the sales part. And so
Yeah.
again, it's this beautiful relationship where we've just been able to do it together.
That's amazing. What a great team. And you guys obviously complement each other so well. What would you say, what is your favorite part of the app or the software? What kind of technology feature do you think you're most proud of?
So I love the branded mobile app. So last April, Tim and I, we weren't busy enough, so we decided to open up our own pickleball club here in St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh my
So not
goodness.
only now do we have Court Reserve, but we have a club that we can test all the Court Reserve features at with our own players. And one of my favorite features in Court Reserve is the branded mobile app, because when our players, they can actually download the Old Coast Pickleball app now instead of just a Court Reserve app. Now, some clubs don't care, but it's a pretty cool way to continue your branding in your community, and continue with what you want to do to bring your players to where you're located. I love the events and programming inside of Court Reserve. There's so much you can do. I mean, you can do all your classes, all your clinics, but you can also do all your open plays, all your round robins, and you can just make them so fun and easy for people to be able to filter through what they want to do and then be able to easily sign up. Now, I will tell you, we have had some really exciting changes in the last couple weeks. We're getting ready to launch our new public booking flow. It is going to revolutionize the way that people find a club, book a club, like book a reservation or sign up for a class or a clinic. And we're actually doing a partnership with Google. So a club who has a Google profile will easily be able to be found in Google, almost like an open table or a Resi reservation,
Yes.
like you book
Yep.
a table. Now you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to book a court or sign up for a class or a clinic. So it's going to help
Wow.
clubs fill up their unused revenue or their inventory so they can drive more revenue. So if you have empty courts or empty slots in a class, why not introduce somebody new to pickleball or tennis?
See, that's genius. That is definitely going to be a game changer. And I'm just thinking too, I know you travel a lot. I travel a lot for work, and I'm always like, I'll be in, let's say, Atlanta. I mean, there's a ton of places to play, but you just don't know, like, oh, when is there open play at this club? Like, can I join if I'm not a member? Can I just step in? Or, things like that. And so I've always just had to do my Google search and or talk to people in the area. So having that type of system, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to really help clubs again introduce more people to where they are,
Yes.
who they are. Now, a lot of people may not travel, but it's certainly if you're in a metropolitan area that has a lot of opportunity to play, I mean, that's a way to build your own friendships, build your own community, build your own play. And it doesn't matter what kind of player you are, pickleball, tennis, squash, badminton, whatever. Any club can use that. So we're really excited about that. We're trying to make it frictionless so that when I find you at your club, then I can easily come and join your club. I can be a member, I can be a visitor, I can be a guest, and I can do whatever you want me to do. So it's really exciting, and I'm just waiting for them to hit the go button.
Yeah, and like also if someone discovers a new club and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, is there one of these near me?" Or yeah,
Exactly.
it's filling their empty hours, especially like during the day. It's a lot less crowded at these facilities. So, yeah, that's amazing. And with all this stuff, I mean, obviously you guys seem to be always like one step ahead. You're probably always thinking about the next idea. So what do you think, like how do you think technology is impacting pickleball? And where do you see it going, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think that especially in pickleball, that players, depending on where they are and who they are, some of them are very interested in the competition aspect. They're interested in the rating, whether it's Duper or maybe the club's rating or whatever that looks like. So I think technology's key in that so that players, if they're interested in the, competitive edge, they can continue to play matches, feed their matches into technology, get their ratings more synchronized. So I do think in pickleball that's going to be a big deal. And I do think competition in the pickleball club space is heating up,
Yeah.
especially in the metropolitan areas. I mean, clubs are going to have to outmarket. They're going to have to become very visibly online to where people can be interested to come and play. And so, this whole new booking flow for CourtReserve is going to help those clubs define more business in their own clubs because they're going to be able to use technology, social media, marketing, those things to drive more players to their club. So I think it's going to be an exciting way to see what clubs can outperform and market other clubs. And I think there's enough for everyone. There's enough tennis for everyone. There's enough pickleball for everyone, but it depends on the community. I think building that community is really important, and you can still use technology to do that. And making sure you get people to come back to your club. We actually have an integration with a company called Patch, so that like if my player comes to Old Coast and they leave, I can have Patch automate and send a text to them. Hey, did you enjoy your experience? We'd love to hear how it was. Or send them a birthday text with a coupon code. It's all
Yeah.
about, we're all busy. There's so much going on in email. There's so much on social media. Like you got to remind people who you are and get them back into your door. And that's going to be a big deal when it comes to technology and growing clubs in the future.
Definitely. And to someone listening that wants to check out Court Reserve or a facility owner that might think about, implementing your software into their facility, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, sure. They can just reach out to courtreserve.com. You can book a one on one demo, and we can usually talk to you the same day. We'd love to just, introduce you to Court Reserve, let you kick the tires, look under the hood, see all of the functionality, and make sure that we can help solve the pain points of what they're looking for.
Amazing. So everyone go check them out if you haven't already. Ashley, this has been so insightful. Like I'm so excited for you guys and just really what you're doing to help so many people in the pickleball industry. So thank you, Ashley, for coming on and we'll stay tuned to see who will join us in the kitchen next time.